Looks like they're emptying out an old building. These are the coolest kinds of dumpsters to find. Look at this. You're not supposed to put batteries in the trash. Oh look, I need one of these in my car. Do you think it works? There's some piping and some fuses. You don't even use those in your car. We used to use this type of fuse in the old cars. I'm going to take this box because it has some cool stuff in it. What else is in here? People, it is cold out here, but we decided we wanted to make a video for you guys. Well, for us or for somebody, because we hadn't made a video in so long. I'm putting a third glove on over my already 2-layered gloves because I don't want to get the gloves dirty that I have on. There's lots of wire. MIG solid welding wire. All kinds of junk in here, like you would dump out of an old garage or something. Yeah, look at these. Plumbing pipe. Here's a bathtub. Ooh, that's brand new. That's prettier than the one I have in my bathtub. That's a brand new box. I'm taking it home. That's got all the parts in it. What's in this one? What's in this one? Anything? What's that? 3 27-inch strands of what? I don't know. Look, this has liquid in it, solid frozen. Frozen solid. Yeah, this would be good for a scavenger to come by and get. Look at this. This is an old toolbox. Look at these screws. Not screws. What are these? Drill bits. There's a brand new filter for something. Oh my gosh, look at all radio. Looks like an 8-track. Here's an old cassette track. Ow, it's caught on my glove. Wow, there's all kinds of wiring in here. I'm just too cold to get it. You know, the wiring that I said was easy to gather. There's some jumping cables. This place must do printing. And this print shirts here. Here's one that doesn't have anything on it. I wonder if there's something wrong with it. I need your long arms. I can't reach those. These are all what's the word? Hoodies. These are all hoodies. Reach these. Can you reach them? Did you hear something?
I don't know if we're trespassing or not.
I didn't see a no trespassing sign.
Are all these wet?
They're wet from the rain. Yeah. at the post office like that. I should tell this story on video. Am I telling it on video? Okay, you got all of it? Okay, we would have to come to the dock in Liberal, Kansas like this and pick up the great big bundles of newspapers. And the funny thing was, I don't think she ever like signed for them or anything. She would just drive up to the dock and pick the bundles up. And then it would be like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and I'd have to go to school that day, but I'd have to be up with her because, you know, it was just me and her. She didn't want to leave me alone by myself. Debbie was probably at home, but anyway, we'd go deliver papers. And I remember Mama used to put the rubber bands on her gear shift. We used to have all these rubber bands on our gear shifts. And then we sit there and roll the papers. And there were a couple of ways you could roll them. You could roll them from the inside because you didn't want the outside paper to be flapping and tear. So you'd roll it so there was no paper to flap. And you'd roll this side in, and then one more time, kind of like a taco. And then wrap the rubber band around it. And then if it was raining, we had these big, long plastic bags. We'd slide them in and put the rubber band around. And sometimes if we got fancy, we could fold the papers into a square. I don't think we did that very often because that took a lot of time. And then we'd go to there was a restaurant kind of on the outskirts of town. And it's kind of in a bad area. I don't know if you guys even know, but there was a newspaper, I don't know, display, a newspaper. It was kind of like a box on legs that you put money in. I don't know what you call it. My mind isn't pulling up the name of it. Anyway, and we'd put newspapers in it and she'd empty the money out of it. But the thing was, we'd go to do it and somebody would have broken it open and stole all the money, and that happened several times, so we just quit doing that particular one. I just remember going there and seeing it all beat up and broken open and stuff. This is a display case. They must have taken that out of their store.
You're not going to take it home?
No.
You can strap it to the roof.
That must be what this is. They must have taken all the display case out. I wonder why. I wonder if it got broken. There's a piece of mirror that I would like to have, but it's going to break before I can get it out. Hold this. Oh, you got a hand in your pocket. Never mind. Keep your hand in your pocket. It's cold out, people. It's very cold out. Oh, these are all damaged. I guess I don't want any of them. I would if they weren't all damaged. Newspaper stand. It was just basically a little metal box with a plastic lid on the front that showed the front of the newspaper, and then the quarters would. It was a very basic mechanism. The quarters it was probably a quarter newspaper, and the quarters would just drop into the machine, and when it got a quarter, it would click, and then you open it up and you took a newspaper. The funny thing is, you could open it up and take every newspaper. You know, back then, this would have been in the 70s. This would have been probably 76, 77, something like that. So I probably would have been about 9. So I might have been about 3rd or 4th grade. But yeah, and we would go to put newspapers in it, and Mama would find it just thrown off to the side of the building and all smashed up, and probably somebody thought they needed those quarters, you know.
There's a tree. Maybe.
What is it?
Is there a tree in here? No. Oh.
No
There's
tree.
taters.
Ooh, taters. Yum, yum, yum. Those look like good taters, too. What do? Throw out the whole bag if the bag gets ripped? That just makes you sick, you know?
It smells bad in
It
here.
does. You can tell food has been rotten. There's something heavy in here. What's in here? Ooh, we got moldy rolls. We got tomato soup. Guess when that expired?
Can't see. July 20th,
2022.
2022. How the heck have they had that for that long?
Ooh, here's some cake mixes. Let's see when they expired.
Really
August of 2022. April of 2022.
What is this from?
This is our grocery store here in town. Oh, look, we got some clothes. Are these any good? That's a nice shirt. There's some cream pies. You want some cream pies? When did these expire?
Dumpster candy.
November 23. Oh, look, the thing's coming off. Drummond baseball? Oh, this is a nice jacket. Ooh, it's domino. That's a nice jacket. I wonder if Cassie would like that. I'll take that for her son. Another domino. Can you sell these online? Didn't you sell your Pizza Hut one?
Yeah. If they're in good condition, I can just wash them.
Well, let's take them home and see if they're in good condition. And we can wash them at home. There's a whole bunch of dominoes in here. Here, let's just take these home and wash them. See if they're any good. Yeah, I was just thinking it's dark out here now. Of course, it's evening, but it just made me think of being at the post office. Just made me think of that because we get up and we'd have to go pick up the newspapers at 3 o'clock in the morning at the post office, and you know, of course, I had to go to school that day. I remember one year we were throwing we had two different newspaper routes. We had the Amarillo route, and we had to get that one out super early in the morning. First thing in the morning, we had to get that out. And then we had the liberal Southwest Daily Times, I think it was. And we would do that in the evenings. And I don't remember where she picked those up at. I guess she picked them up while I was in school, maybe. Mud. I forgot my gloves. Let me go this way. Is there mud over here too? That's a kitty litter box. Don't want anything to do with that one. Ugh. I've got mud all over my feet now.
You don't want anything from the apartments.
I don't want anything from what?
The apartments. You want to go dumpster dive in the areas where the rich people live.
People in apartments get rid of a lot of stuff because they move a lot. That's why you find good stuff at apartments.
Oh.
Especially the end of the month when they're getting ready to move into a new place and everything is month to month, you know. So at the beginning of the month or the end of the month, that's when you start seeing stuff in apartments because their lease is up at the end of the month. So that's why apartments, especially at the end of the month. Well, I think
you get it yet?
I don't know. It's still coming off. I guess that's as good as I'm gonna get. It was pretty gross, sticky mud. So anyway, I guess Mama would pick those papers up while I was at school because the second I got out of school, we had to start delivering papers. And I remember our route we had to take, and I had to get out and walk, and Mama would follow me in her car, and I would throw them on the steps. She made sure I got them on the steps, and I either had to throw them or I had to walk them up there, depending on how good I could throw. Which, you know, here I am, probably 8, 9 years old. I probably couldn't throw very good. any tools in it? I can't reach it. Can you reach it? No.
It's a good case, though.
Ugh, it's pretty dirty. What about this? Ugh. That looks like a grease tube. After school, oh, we had in Liberal, we used to have, I love Liberal. We had road runners. Every time I go back to Liberal, I love to go out at night and watch the road run. Well, they come out in the daytime too, but anyway, watch the road runners. They're just so funny. They got those long legs and they're fast, very fast, the road runners. And they have jackrabbits, big old jackrabbits that can jump like 20 feet in one jump. They got big old back legs and they're very skinny. Anyway, that wasn't the story, but that's what I think of when I go back to my hometown of Liberal where we lived for so long. Anyway, there was a windstorm so bad one time that it basically, you see these videos of the dust clouds that come in and just cover the whole town, you know, it's just dark and you can't see 10 feet in front of you. Well, we had a dust storm like that. And Mama still made us deliver the papers. And I had to wear a hood over my head and a bandana around my face so that I could breathe because it was just so dusty and the winds were so strong. I remember that. Oh, and I went to this school that was shaped like an L. And in the back of this school, there wasn't anything. It was like some old fields. And when the wind would blow, the tumbleweeds would blow into this corner of this school that was shaped like an L. And these tumbleweeds would pile up in the corner of the school up to the top of the roof. The whole thing as tall as the roof. These tumbleweeds would. I mean, tumbleweeds, I'm sure everybody knows what a tumbleweed is. It's just like a round ball that just breaks off and then it just rolls because it's round. It's really kind of cool. And when I go back there and you're driving around at night especially, you see the tumbleweeds tumbling and rolling in front of you when you're driving and the jackrabbits jumping and the road runners running and that's what I remember. There, you see anything? Did you end up in the mud? What is that? Oh, that's one of those plastic pieces that they have on the light. Look at this wood. Look at this. This is old stuff. Look at this. This is 1970s, 1960s paneling. That's what we had in our trailer that we lived in, was this old paneling. What is that right there?
Careful with the nails. Nails poking up everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Oh, it looks like a fan belt.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's see. I got another story about my childhood. I had to be, because I know what age I was because we moved a lot and I was certain ages, you know, when I was at certain places. So that's how I remember, you know, my childhood and what age I was. I had to be younger than 8 because it would have been before I moved to a certain town. And I was 9 when I moved to this town. Anyway, my mom lost her left leg just below the knee in an accident, a grain auger accident. She was driving a truck. My mom was 40 years old. She was driving a truck by herself, hauling wheat from the farmer's wheat field to the farm where they had those great big giant round wheat bins that you see. And the way they get the wheat into those round bins is, it's called an auger, and it basically kind of looks like a screw. And the wheat goes up into the very tip top of those bins. At the very top of them, they kind of come to a point, and there's a lid up there, and they open that lid, and then you pour the wheat at the base of the auger, and then the auger takes the wheat up to the top, to that door in the top of the bin, where it fills it up. And trucks would back up, and they had a great big tractor tire, and the trucks would back up to this tractor tire and open the door on the back of the wheat truck, and the wheat would come out and go down into this tractor tire, and then the auger was down in that tractor tire, and then it would take the wheat up into the grain bin. Did that make any sense? Did I describe that good? So anyway, that's what Mama was doing. Mama was always working. She always had a couple of jobs all the time. I mean, we were always poor, but it wasn't because she was lazy, that's for sure. Anyway, but she was by herself. She went to empty her truck out at the farm. And there was nobody at the farm. I guess all the farmer and whoever else, they had lots of kids because they needed kids to help the farm run. So there was nobody there. It was just her, and she was emptying her truck. And I guess she got kind of a little too far. And I just realized Mama was 43 because I wasn't. I was 3
So you were 3 years old.
I was 3 years old. Yes, it was 1971. And I guess Mama had kind of backed up, and she was kind of just a tiny bit to one side. So when she started emptying the wheat, it was building up on one side. So instead of going all the way around the truck to grab the scoop so she could scoop that wheat and make it go into the auger,
Look at this one.
What is it? What is it? Okay, I must get my hook.
Your hook? What is that?
Ta-da!
It's not a hook. Do you not want to be filmed? Because you got filmed.
Because my hair's sticking straight up, I'm sure.
Use your muscles.
I don't know that that's going to come off. I think that's attached right here. If I want it off, I'm going to have to cut it right there. Pull. These are drawers, I think, that go in one of those caddies. It might just help me get organized in my craft room, or it might just make more crap in my craft room. Is there another one? Okay, so instead of walking around the truck to get the scoop, when you think of a wheat scoop, you think of kind of a snow shovel, kind of. It's a big wide scoop, and it's got a real short handle. And she decided, instead of going around the truck, she would just step up on the tractor tire and reach over and get it, because it was on the other side. Now, of course, this story was told to me, so I'm telling it, you know, second, third hand, or what I remember. And the wheat, I don't know if you guys have ever seen wheat. It's hard and it's like little, almost like rice, the size and shape of rice. And so you can imagine if you had a great big pile of rice and you had it on a piece of board or something and you stepped on it, it would roll, be kind of slick. So anyway, she stepped on the tractor tire and her left leg went down into this auger. And not to be too graphic, I mean, close your ears if you don't want to hear this, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen a hamburger auger where they make hamburger meat. That's kind of what happened. Was her foot and leg just got ground up to her, right below her knee, her left leg. And by the grace of God, she was able to get free and hold pressure on her leg so she didn't bleed out until finally, I don't know how long it was, but finally someone else came to dump wheat and found her. And of course they got her to the hospital and all of that. And then they had to amputate a little bit. And anyway, so she lost her left leg. Well, she did get an artificial leg. And this leg was very ancient. It wasn't, because somebody else had to pay for it, basically, welfare, So she didn't get the newest and best. What she got was a leg, the bottom, like think of the bottom half of your leg from your knee down. That part just being, we called it a wooden leg. I don't think it was made of wood. I think it was plaster. And of course it had metal in it to secure it. So it was very, very heavy. But that part was attached by a hinge, 2 hinges, one on each side of her leg, on her knee, to a leather, I don't know, think of a corset, It was like that. She had to tie this leather corset around her upper thigh, and it went from her knee almost all the way up her thigh, and she would have to, I remember every day watching her get up, and she'd have to put these wool socks on that didn't really look like a sock. The bottom of it looked just round, just if you cut a sock off and you made it just round at the bottom, that's what it was. And she would put these wool, really, really thick wool sock over her leg, and then she would put her leg down in the wooden part of the artificial leg, and then she would strap that leather around her thigh, and she had this huge, long, I don't know, 6-foot long lace that went through all of the eyelets where she would strap it on and make sure it was super tight so that it was attached to her leg. But in addition to that, she had a belt that went around her hips under her clothes that also attached to the leg, that also helped keep this leg attached and keep it from falling off. Can you imagine how uncomfortable and cumbersome that was? And to be, in your prime, 43 years old, and to go through that, I can't imagine. But anyway, that's how my mom lost her leg. And I remember they wouldn't let me go in the hospital and see her because I was, 3 years old. And my daddy, back then, things were different, of course, 1971, he slipped me in the window of the hospital room so I could go see Mama. And I remember going through that window. I was 3 years old, and I remember that. to go see Mama.
This is where you got what?
This is where I got that really cool Christmas wrapping paper. The buffalo check and the deer on it and all that cool stuff.
We actually used to wrap a bunch of presents.
We did use it. It was really cool. Free gabapentin. That's gabapentin. I actually take that medication. It's for seizures. I don't have seizures. The doctor uses it for oh, I gotta get my clipper. You want to do the honors?
No.
You don't? What was I saying? Oh, that medication is not for seizures for me. It's for neuropathy, for nerve pain. Whee! There it goes. Not done.